Cardiology, part 3. Here we go again. So we're going to cover a bit about blood pressure, mainly blood pressure, how we calculate it, all the factors associated with it, and also a little bit on blood types, just because why not? Okay, I'll start with blood types first. Okay, quite simple to understand, but I thought might as well put it in somewhere before I forget about it. So we've got 4 main blood types. We've got A, B, AB, and O.
I can't connect to the Wi-Fi network.
Alright, shut up.
You might want to check the connection settings in the Google Home app.
Okay, so think about it like this. Each blood type has its own set of banners. And with that comes an army, okay? Think like Game of Thrones sort of thing, where you've got House Stark, so they have their own banner, and their army is going to target anything that isn't their banner. So on this one, just ignore the D for now. This is banner A, so imagine that's Stark's. So they've got an army against banner B and O, but O doesn't have a banner, but we'll get on to that. So basically they're going to fight anything that's not A, in this case B. So their army, or antibodies, is B. So if you give blood type A to a patient who's blood type B, it's not gonna work. Your A blood type is gonna interfere with your B blood type, and your B blood type, they can have antibodies for blood type A, so it's not gonna work. Okay. So that's blood type A. Blood type B, so same sort of thing. They have a banner for the B type, so that's their antigen. We'll pretend it's their banner. So they're going to have an army against army A, so against the A banner. So they don't want A. So a patient with A blood type can't be given B blood type because they'll just kill each other. Okay. We then got blood type AB. Okay. So because it's got both banners, it doesn't have an army because it doesn't need an army. It's got both banners. It's like if 2 people from a house married each other, then you've got both their blood in you. Best way to look at it. Okay, so they're not going to fight each other. That's what they call the universal acceptor. Okay. Specifically AB positive. We'll go on to the positive and negative in a minute. But specifically AB positive is a universal acceptor. So you can give that, any blood type can be given to people with AB positive. So if I was AB positive and I needed blood, you can give me any blood. It doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. Not the other way around though. You can't give this to anyone because it's got 2 banners, so it'll interfere. Okay. Last blood type is O. Okay, so this is seen as the universal donor. So O blood type, it doesn't have any banners, so there's nothing identifying it. So there's nothing, no army's going to target it because it's sort of just like an innocent bystander sort of thing. Like it's just chilling. It doesn't want it. It's not on anyone's side, so no one takes any notice. Okay. Specifically then, O negative is the universal donor. So you can give this blood to anyone. Okay. So O negative is probably the most important blood type to have, like in quantities. Like if you wanted a bag of blood, you'd probably want O negative because you can give it to anyone. Okay, we'll go on to our positive and negative then. So that's called, basically it's called the rhesus factor. So as well as the fact that it might be A or B or O, you've also got, it could be positive or negative. So A positive, think of your positive as just an extra flag. It's a D flag, so it's a D banner. So if you've got A positive, you've got a banner on your A as well. So you've got 2 banners on your A positive. You've got A and D. Okay, that means anything that doesn't have your D banner is going to attack the D banner. So anything that's negative is going to attack a positive. Okay, so think here, if we've got B negative, or say A negative, it's going to attack it because this negative there's no D banner. So it's not going to follow a D banner. It doesn't like D banners. So it's going to have antibodies or an army against the D banners. Okay, so we're going to our AB positive. So if it's positive, that means it has the flag. So the more flags you have, the more banners you have, the more followers you have. So if you conquer someone, you're going to take their army. So if you take everyone's army, there's no one left to oppose you. Okay? So AB positive, that's all the flags you can possibly have, essentially. So it's the universal acceptor, because there's no one left to resist it. Okay? Opposite then with O negative. O negative has none of the flags. So it can be given to anyone because it's not going to offend anyone. It's on no one's side. It doesn't have any flag. Okay, so that's that. So that makes sense. Yeah, negative blood can't be accepted by positive blood. Okay. All right, we're going to go on to how we calculate blood pressure. So there's lots of factors here that affect blood pressure. But we'll start with our bog standard equation of blood pressure, and that equals our cardiac output multiplied by our systemic vascular resistance. Okay, so we'll start off with what is our systemic vascular resistance. So that's the resistance that is due to sort of the walls of our blood vessels. Okay, and that can change due to our autonomic nervous system, or it could be could change due to like obesity, being overweight can change that. So we can have a look at the factors that change that. Okay, so there's 3 factors. I mentioned sort of what might change these factors, but ignore what I said. Reset. So I've got the 3 factors. We've got the length of the blood vessels, the diameter of the blood vessels, and the viscosity of the blood, so how thick it is. So if you think about that, it's a bit like resistivity of a wire, sort of the material being like the viscosity, the diameter and the length. So the longer your vessels are, the more resistance you're going to have, okay? Which makes sense. So how do we affect that? If you're obese, in Dr. Matt and Dr. Mike, they say that 1 kilogram of fat is equivalent to 1,000 kilometers of blood vessels. Okay, so that's massive. So being obese can really affect that. So if you've got longer vessels, so if we've got an increased length, that means our systemic vascular resistance is higher. Okay, so increased resistance. And if we've got the same cardiac output, we've now got a higher blood pressure. Okay? Does that make sense? That doesn't make sense. Length is proportional to resistance. Increase in resistance okay. So if we keep our blood pressure constant, we want to maintain our blood pressure. We want it to be stable. So if we want our blood pressure to be, say, the ideal one is 120/80. So that's our ideal blood pressure. If we want to maintain this, and this is going up, okay, then our cardiac output needs to increase as well. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. increase our resistance.